you. Tell you what, I'll oblige you. Because why not? Why not? You know? Why not? Why is exploitation immoral? It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. It isn't. Exploitation is immoral in this society, in this species, because we should have the wherewithal to think that all of us as beings hold some type of weight to change history with our own thoughts and patterns of behavior. Yes, we view good as a moral catch-all to a to a registered point where if you want to be loved, you be loved. If you want to be hated, you be hated. You generally can make the people, your environment, whatever it is, work for you in some form of fashion. You exploit people in very minute ways, and then you can exploit them in very strong ways. You can exploit them in very subtle ways, or you can exploit them. Yeah. There's always a one-to-one. There's always an exchange. The idea of exploitation is using the power imbalance to force a situation in which the person has the illusion of choice. They have, like, if I call you crying at 12 a.m. and you're my best friend, but you got to get up for work in 30 minutes, like, the odds of you wanting to be up longer is a lot less. But at the same time, like, you care more about the outside external factors than yourself. That's subtle. We don't think of it as exploitation, but it is. Larger scale exploitation we think is wrong because at some, and I did say this already, register to a point where you want to control your environment. The idea that you would do something to somebody that would leave them in a negative position and then justify that negative position with your positive position, not a justification for why they're there, but a justification in which you are the center of the conversation. That's massive exploitation, job exploitation, wage exploitation, or I should have just said altogether, labor exploitation, property exploitation. Is there a universal moral truth that we are appealing to? Hello, oh shit, Kanye Yeast. Is maybe what's necessary is that people need to know how they are, could be exploited, then we can at least exercise some influence over it. Yeah. Woo! There it is. Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the point of this channel. What the fuck? That's why I call myself the Paradigm Shift. Yo, that's the point of this. You just made me explain what the fuck this Twitch channel is for. Yeah. I'm trying to tell you the underlying concepts of why things are the way they are, so you don't argue that this is bad because it's bad, but you argue it's bad because its negative overall output is way larger than its positive. The negative only benefits thus those who are in power. What are we debating? Nothing. No, it was, wow, yeah, I didn't even think we were going to go into that, but yeah, no, that's right, yeah. Is there a universal moral truth we are appealing to? Yes. The idea that all of us must help we should survive. We should be able to beat out all extinction events. That goes into the whole thing about the nuclear option. And that's why dystopian films feel more real than they've ever, because we're in a situation where people think shit is happening, so they're acting on those actions as opposed to like reeling back and saying, "Oh, right, greater good." Self-preservation is a moral truth. Absolutely. The Batman, like, there's a reason why it's always Batman. There's a reason why right-wingers love Batman, because it's the who does he care about more? What will benefit the greatest? I can't talk about that. Sorry, I have to get that off my screen. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Can't talk about that. I'll get banned. It's not your fault. Nah, you good. How do you get there from a morally skeptical position? you have to see it with your own eyes. The problem that we have with right-wingers, or the problem that we have with this dichotomy of thought, is that the left sees everything as a systemic moral issue. People put these rules in place. Evil people would only be the people who would do that, because nobody else would make a world like that unless they truly had some issues internally. The right views it as a practical example. We put these rules in place, and some people have succeeded from those rules. Therefore, your succession or your lack thereof is your fault. There is no problem with the system because it rewards who it rewards. If it didn't reward anyone, then sure, you'd have a point. But what you're complaining about from the right's perspective is that you're not succeeding. Therefore, it's your fault. The whole personal responsibility thing. That's what leads the realm of conservatism, is that there are winners on this planet. You're just not one of them. And then we get to the temporarily embarrassed millionaire. We are not one of them yet. The disconnect between these two is that whatever system's in place, there will be winners, because nobody can stand to live equally with one another. There's already been this instilled drive, just like I've talked about on this channel. I gotta get views, I gotta have an audience, I gotta get people chatting, I gotta get people. There's a reason for that, because it means more monetary success. There is always some type of ladder to be climbed. There is always some brass ring to grasp. And the problem that the left is trying to say is that they don't provide everyone a ladder to get to the brass ring. People are saying the right wingers say you should just make your own fucking ladder. But it's impossible to make your own ladder because you need to know the dimensions. You need to know how tall it needs to be, how much the material is. They're not giving you any of that. The key is in trying to connect those two. Oh yeah, no, this is US. This is US based. This is all US. There are some cultures that have landed this perfectly and live in fucking harmony, except for when we try to exploit them or invade them. You know. Imperialist masters, bitch. I run the military if you want that beef. You got it, Mos. Hey, we appreciate you. It is. That isn't. There's a video on my YouTube about that. I've made a video stating that almost like, not verbatim, but like for word. Well, I don't like that rationalization because what you consider a negative or positive output is arbitrary. Only in a world like ours. I'm thinking broader. I know that other systems exist and what's right and what's wrong are different, or what has a positive or negative output can be swayed by another population. And what's crazy about that sway is that the balance between the two can be met much better in different places on Earth. My problem is that the United States is the perfect place to bring these two grasping ideologies together about wanting a better life and also personal success, and could find a waterway. But there are middle ground. But there are literally people. I'm thinking about the word sway and I thought about boats. Fucking ADHD, yo. Everything is a point to a point. It's just the manner in which things are discussed from positive to negative have landed themselves in justifying rights for people versus personal responsibility for lack of resources. So both sides are fighting different issues. Intersectionality is what connects them. This is why I started saying out loud, like, and I don't want to say it this way because I am doing a segment, but like I still want to say it. I feel like conservatism as it used to be is dead. Neoconservatism has taken its place. And it's like a baby of fascism. And that's why it's so tense between the two, because now you have these people spitting out all these, and we're going to talk about a few, we're going to talk about a few. You have all these people spitting out all these ideologies that are just punitive towards a group of people who already were under a microscope to begin with. So the ideology that they want to profess counteracts what they want to do. So they are in an influx themselves, but there's always an enemy. Me as a leftist, like I'll tell you, or a leftist as I put in my bio, me as somebody who doesn't identify with anything right-sided, views that as a culture shock, that they're realizing that the way they've been living their lives has been, in effect, immoral to their own standards. So the mix in between these two are now, I can see why you think that way, but that itself just doesn't exist on this planet. I don't have a need for the identity of conservatism in this world right now, because as we get to automation, robots, VR, AR, like the more technified world, if that's the direction that we go in, we will, in theory, need less labor. We need less action from human beings. At that point where productivity can be like sourced out and everything could be done for us and it's all manageable. At that point, have we set up the world that we can all live in harmony, not worrying about jobs or homes or whatever? When we start asking questions like that, conservatism doesn't answer a lot of them because it requires only letting it happen for a certain group of people. The successful ones will be the ones who can exploit the system the most. They tell you the arguments, the things that have happened. They sold stock and didn't tell anybody. I could bring that back up, the very first point right before the pandemic hit, and it still means something today. They sold stock and didn't tell anybody. That's an immoral action. Nobody really slammed down on them for that. They exploited the system in a way that is seen as smart. Therefore, its immorality is erased. Because as long as you don't get caught, it don't fucking matter. It never fucking matters. And the whole split becomes, where do my thoughts lie as well as what I want for the planet? I think broader scale. I think these children are going to grow up looking at us, seeing us in disarray. So they're going to fight for what they believe is the moral goodness because it wants to make them feel good. But once they get older and older, will they get swayed like we were? Oh, absolutely. 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 Endgame, like 2015. Because more people were being more bolder with their moves. And I'm going to have to cut off this conversation here. Not you. It's leading me right back to a segment that I really want to put my time and energy into about how the internet aged us. Because that right there, that's when Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook all started really getting used by millennials, like stuck Gen Z millennial right there. The youngest of them, the 1995s, the 1993s, my generation, that's when we really started. No, you good. No, you good. It's just, you're going to make me talk about it and then I'm going to keep talking about it. And it's like, damn, no, I just want to save that for a part of the other video because you'll like that more. Oh, and they'll like it more. If you're on YouTube, please do me a favor, hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell to stay notified. We stay online. Whoa, that was a 15-minute one. That was nice.